Okay, recording. Sandy's dead. Yep. Hardly knew her. Maybe I'll write some epic novel from her point of view someday. Who knows, right? Let's see. Looks like I'm all alone. Marty muttered. Closed the dead girl's eyes. His eyes. He had seduced. With a sudden stab of guilt. Gotta check something, folks. Just a second. Back, folks. Just had to check and make sure someone got their pills. Turns out they did, and I was worried for nothing. Let's see, there was a stab of guilt. I mighty almost wished that there was a stab of guilt that went through Marty's body. Body from end to end. He almost wished it was a heart attack. Marty figured that he would die. Heart attack instead. So this was a heart attack instead. He had seduced Sandy, bringing her into his organization. And with a lot of talk of money, fame, adventure. She was a hanger-on at first. One of those gals that like the excitement. Meant of hanging out with bad people without being bad or criminal in any way themselves. Marty heard there were tons. Heard there were tons of those types in Zeta. In cities like Chicago and Buffalo State. City. Where gangsters enjoyed a lot of romantic had a rather romantic image. I suppose it was different. It was different in Zeta, Chromia. There weren't that many handsome gangster leaders in the country. Most of them were kind of rather gaunt, goblin-ish types. That's not misspelling. That's Goblin is the name I use for goblin. So I'm just changing. You know, like if you have ghoulish, I changed the word for ghoulish, and that got a new word. Goblinish types who were as ugly on the inside as they were on the outside. I know we try to say these days, you know, can't judge a book by its cover, but you know, when you see these spree killers on the news, and yeah, he looks like how I pictured the guy to look. He looked like a spree killer. Crazy eyes and all that. I mean, that's why I wear sunglasses in public, because I got a little bit crazy eye. Just, you know, just the way I look, because I got big eyes. Golem eyes or something, you know? It's just the way it is. So some people just look mean because of, you know, how their face looks. It's a weird thing. Like that, what's that thing? That meme, resting bitch face. Some people just look like they're unhappy all the time. I look like I'm unhappy all the time, and that's why people say, hey, what's wrong? Why do you look so down in the dumps? I'm not in the dumps. I'm fine. I'm happy. It's just I don't show it so well on the outside because of the way my face was designed by genetics. Let's see. It's like the cat. The cat always looks like he's a little... Every cat looks a little like they're unhappy or upset because of the way they always have their eyes narrowed and a puss on their face. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's see. Marty imagined if he looked more like one of those goblins, then he would have seduced. Then he wouldn't have seduced Sandy. She would have just gone and worked for the Liverpoolian orchestra, like she had planned to. Or maybe she would have felt they were too small fry, and she would have gone to be a singer in the capital of Redwich. Blood can bombers be damned. Maybe she would have ended up dead when the Bloodkins took over. She was still a wanted woman, and back in, despite her fleeing Salgoria and being a part of the criminal underworld, since she was part of the criminal underworld, she escaped capture by the time of the invasion. She was already living underground. She didn't have to adjust to life on the run. Maybe looking at it like that, Marty had given her another 7 years of life. Instead of getting caught in 41, she died in 48. 7 years might be just a fart when it comes to the age of the world. But to a human, 7 years wasn't chump change? Is that the phrase I want? Nah, because years and money aren't the same. But to a human, 7 years wasn't something to just put in a small thing. A lot can happen in 7 years. Yeah, a lot of scary things for some people. Wish we all could live like the hobbits in the Shire and not ever have any trouble, you know? But, you know, it's the way things are. Maybe someday humans will have, like, a lot more no scary stuff happening in their lives, you know? Disease scares, money scares, car accidents. I'm sure robots will be much better drivers than any humans. Maybe even better surgeons, too. Seems like surgeons are really goofing up these days. Marty snapped back to the present. He was all alone. He was even more alone than he thought. The other MG, which had been still up after the bomb went off, after the RPG hit, was silenced. The gunner was slumped over lifelessly. Still catching the occasional round out in the street. There were a few moaning, dying men about the other windows. Every occupant of the butcher's shop was dead but Marty. Almost every occupant. No, that's not right. Besides those dying men, everyone else was already gone. Oh, Marty. You men need to kill yourself. You men need to kill yourselves. Marty said. Shouted at the wounded men. The Jade are not gonna show you fellas any mercy. Should I call them blokes? You blokes. A novelization of Tomb Raider would be neat to write, but how would you do all that weird puzzle solving and stuff, running around tombs? That'd get boring to write after a while. Tomb Raider 2 and 3 might be the best ones to do. A lot of globe trotting and new settings and a lot more action and puzzles. And most of the puzzles in those two games don't make any sense at all, so. You're exploring a museum. Why would there be all death traps and weird trap doors and stuff in the museum? Or Area 51. I'm sure Area 51 is a bizarre place on the inside, but not bizarre like a video game level is. It was the same with Venice in Part 2. You know, where you're going around finding Italian mobsters in a city. And there's all this weird stuff like this and that. I don't know. An oil rig that was even weirder. All kinds of weird jump puzzles that didn't make sense. Alright, think about it. Did anything in that series make sense? I don't know. I still look into it for inspiration whenever I need to do like a Tomb Raider kind of thing where the heroes are running around a tomb with lots of traps and craziness. Sir, one of the men groaned. Sorry, that's a little jarring, me going back to the narrative suddenly. I can't lift my arms. Liffy. My arms. Could you do it for me? Sure. Her mother then headed up to him. The wounded man had about 10 wounds in his arms, 2 to his chest. He was dying, but maybe not quick enough to avoid the vicious interrogators, the Jade Empire. Yeah, the Jade Army interrogators, they're practically symbiotes in how well they inflict pain on people. Total goddamn sadists. Yeah, they're following the footsteps of the Germans and the Russians. Yeah. Flaying you alive is like the least they'll do to you. Marty took aim. His rifle. Aimed at the man's head. He closed his eyes and was muttering something under his breath. Marty squeezed the trigger. And part of the man's face disappeared. A great spray of blood. And mist from his brains. And pink mist. Mist from his brain. Yep. They call it gray matter, though it's actually pink. I remember I saw a human brain out of the skull in, that, what do you call it? Body Works, that thing that those Germans put on where they have the bodies all plasticized and whatnot. They're perfectly preserved. It'd be nice to get that done for your for a regular body without any of that strange mutilation. I kind of wouldn't want my body to be decomposing wherever it ends up. I'd rather my body just be burned to till nothingness. But not like in a crematory. I mean like blown up, like they put my body on a giant crate of dynamite and then just pull a detonator and then there's nothing left of me. I hope you don't need your dead body after you die. I mean, that's what the Egyptians believed, you know. Me. It's okay, sir. One of the other wounded muttered. And after a coughing fit, where he then gave. You want me to? Marty trailed off. The wounded man took up a big .357 revolver and put it to his right temple. No, sir. I think I can handle it. Marty reassured. The wounded man reassured. Anybody asks, tell them I went down fighting. Okay. Marty replied. The man waited till Marty had left the room and turned his back before squeezing the trigger. It was an artillery-like report. And it was an artillery-like report, and Marty almost... yeah, my leg is itchy. Itchy leg. Damn it. They started selling the double shot energy again. They had triple shot out. I wonder what happened. Did someone die of a heart attack or something? Was the energy drink too potent for them? Probably. It seems almost too potent for me. I figure I'm more likely to drop dead of an energy drink overdose, but I need it. This damn body of mine doesn't produce enough energy on its own somehow. I don't know. Maybe I have that chronic fatigue disease that people talk about. The one that's controversial because people think that people are just being lazy. No. Well, I am lazy, but I don't have any damn energy. If you don't have any energy, it's like, even if you weren't lazy, what could you do? It's not a terrible handicap, I guess, next to being blind or something, but it's a lack of... People expect you to do stuff in this life. When you're still alive, when you're not laying in a coffin 6 feet under, people expect you to do something to earn your existence on the planet. Not in the Nazi-like way, like you have to service the state, but people expect you to do and be something. Artillery report, and Marty was almost looked over his shoulder to see what happened to that man. But he didn't. He had already seen enough heads blown off. His whole damn life, he had been seeing people die bloodily. Marty was now the last living person in the building. Butcher's shop. He headed to the window, one of the windows, and opened up on the jade in the street again, emptying another drum mag and killing about at least a dozen, probably wounding more as some of them enemy shambled off into some dark alleyways, clutching wounds. A shambler, like from Quake, the original one. Yeah. Imagine if they had brought one of those to the fight. I'm sure Marty would kill him too. All those monsters in Quake, tough as they were still killed by a single human being, so, Of course, I was controlling that human being, and I was completely badass. Played the hardest difficulty from the start. I think I didn't like it as much as Doom, because it took too long to load on my computer. That was like, what, 20 years ago? Maybe more? 1997, maybe? Nah. It couldn't have been 97. I didn't remember playing it in 97. I don't remember what I was playing in 97. Probably The Sims. Yeah, The Sims. Playing The Sims, I guess, is a good way to kind of practice your storytelling, such and such. What are you doing on that game besides telling stories? It's people living their lives. Of course, most novels aren't about just people living their lives. Most novels are about people fighting for their damn lives. And the living their lives stuff, that usually only gets mentioned in the story, like brief flashbacks or something at the end or the beginning, where before the great adversity comes or after the great adversity comes. A few more rockets. Rockets were fired at the windows. Second floor. Blowing big holes in walls. Holes. So far I don't have any notes for corrections for this part. That'll probably change. But they mangled Marty's comrades, dead comrades, but miraculously, he wasn't hurt. Marty saw what he was pretty sure was the corpse of Sandy LaFleur. Further dismembered, losing her head to one of those blasts. If it had been vaporized or just knocked loose and sent flying to some corner that Marty couldn't see. Let's see. He didn't know. He didn't look for that missing head. Marty headed back down to the ground floor, deciding that he was going to give escape a try. A group of 20 couldn't have gotten out of that butcher's shop, but maybe a few could have, in all the chaos, slipped out into the night. At the entrance, Marty came under fire from dozens of jade. The bullets grazed his armor, and he wiped down, and he took down a few with short bursts. He ducked back in the doorway to fix a jam, avoiding a trio of grenades going off where he had been standing. He chucked out grenades of his own, before advancing into the street, firing off great volleys of fire, killing another dozen. His path. Some jade with an SMG attacked Marty from behind, putting 10 rounds about his armored backside. Marty wasn't penetrated by any of those shots. It sounds kind of kinky, I don't know why. Naughty. Penetrated by any of those shots. But he went down on one knee in a move that was probably quite impressive looking. He spun around and opened up the SMG gunner, getting him with a dozen shots across the chest, sending him flying. Two more jade emerged from the shadows behind that falling gunner, and they were killed too, as well. A whole squad was running Marty's way, firing from the hip, or about 5 meters off. Marty dove into prone, taking a few bullets. Bullets right through the armor. Right through the armor, about his shoulders and arms. This somehow didn't incapacitate him, and he returned fire, sweeping up the whole squad of 6. He got back on his feet. He came under fire again. This time, he got hit by a burst to the pectoral, which knocked him to the ground with a yell. When Marty looked down, he saw a nice trickle of blood coming from that fresh wound. Well, is Marty gonna die? Yes, probably. I mean, it's as it's written in the outline, yep, and as the outline says, so it shall be done. See you later, folks. Have a nice day. Good luck on your own projects.